Developing tonight, two deeply disturbing stories impacting both coasts of the country, each shining new light on the issue of violent illegal immigrant crime. First, in California, where a Mexican immigrant who'd been deported 5 times now faces charges of manslaughter in a drunk driving crash that killed a mother of 2. The other in North Carolina, where a teenage illegal immigrant from Honduras faces first-degree murder charges for allegedly decapitating his own mother. Trace Gallagher has been following the chilling details of both cases. He joins us from our West Coast newsroom. Trace.
Hi, Shannon. Let's begin here in California, where 42-year-old Sandra Duran, just an hour after leaving church, was struck and killed in her car by a drunk driver. Police say the intoxicated driver, 45-year-old Estuardo Alvarez, was fleeing the scene of another traffic accident at a high rate of speed. And the reason this case is generating so much outrage is because since 1998, Alvarez had been deported 5 times and had been arrested in Los Angeles more than 5 times. Including for 2 previous DUIs, driving without a license, several charges of drug possession, and resisting arrest. Alvarez is now being held on $2 million bail. And if he were to be released, which is highly unlikely, immigration agents have issued a detainer to take him into custody. The family of Sandra Duran say they don't want this case to be used against illegal immigrants just trying to make a life, but they also believe California authorities share in the blame. Listen.
Knowing the history that he had with the DUIs and so forth, it was like a slap in the hand and sent back, and he came back, and it shouldn't have never been done like that.
Separately, 200 miles east of Charlotte, North Carolina, an illegal teenage immigrant from Honduras has been charged with killing his mother. Police say 18-year-old Oliver Funes decapitated his mom because he, quote, felt like it. When police arrived on scene, they spotted the suspect carrying both a butcher knife and his mother's head. His 2 younger siblings were inside the house unharmed at the time. Funes is a so-called dreamer protected under the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA. His attorney says that he has significant mental issues. Shannon.
All right, Trace, thank you very much for spelling out the details for us. Joining me now with more, David Wall, attorney and President Trump supporter, and Richard Fowler, senior fellow at New Leaders Council and Fox News contributor. Good to see you both.
Hi, Shannon.
Good to see you, Shannon.
And interestingly enough, I mean, David and Richard, I'm sure you're aware of this too, that the victim in the drunk driving crash, her sister is an LAPD officer and said, not only are we grieving, I'm worried about how many other families this is going to happen to. David, is this the president's best argument on this issue?
Absolutely. And, you know, the 2 public officials that owe that family an apology are Mayor Eric Garcetti of L.A. and LAPD Chief Charlie Beck, who have engineered this sanctuary city policy that allowed Mr. Alvarado to stay in L.A. when he was released from jail multiple times and to stay in L.A. after he returned to the United States after being deported 5 times. On top of that, we risk losing in L.A. County $3.4 billion with a B dollars of federal funding for this sanctuary city policy. And as far as the young monster who beheaded his mother, how do we know he wasn't adjudicated criminally insane in Honduras? We can't know that because when people crash the border, we can't vet them. We can't do a background check. That's why the wall is so necessary, and that's why Mr. Trump is so hot on getting it built.
But Richard, you know, even the woman's family, the woman who was killed in the drunk driving crash, her father has said, I don't want her case to be used to hurt other people who are just coming to here in good faith, to be immigrants who need to make a living. They're desperate to escape their home countries. I mean, even he who just lost his daughter says he doesn't want this to, you know, taint the entire conversation.
And that's what makes this issue so hard, Shannon. I mean, you think about stories like this, which are just devastating and depressing, and those folks shouldn't be in this country. But then you have stories like the case that was reported in the Miami Herald a couple weeks ago. James LaCrue, a Haitian national, came to America searching for economic freedom, and he's being deported because of minor traffic offenses, right? So we have both sides of this coin, and it's not working. And the reason why it's not working, Donald Trump, while I understand why he's putting this executive order forward, this is a stopgap measure. People in Congress, the president of the United States, they need to get bold and say we're going to actually have comprehensive immigration reform with a pathway to citizenship. Right now, America's operating on 1980 immigration laws, and the 1980s have called and they've asked for their laws back. We need new laws, we need modern laws, and now that Donald Trump has the White House, he has the Senate, and he has the House, let's get some comprehensive immigration reform done so we can fix these problems.
So Richard, though, you're okay with the temporary, you said we're on a temporary pause. So for some of this, you're okay with that because, you know, we have a lot of issues with people who are in this country who are under investigation for potential terror ties, and that's according to the FBI. But David, does this beg the question, as Richard said, like it's time to get something done on Capitol Hill that is going to be a more permanent solution? Will the parties get together on that?
Shannon, in 1986, Ronald Reagan passed the Amnesty Act. Everybody thought that was going to cure the problem. They said, look, we're going to give everybody amnesty, and after that, we're going to strictly enforce the border. Look what happened. It didn't work. The bottom line is we have immigration laws. We have people in Europe waiting in line for years to get into America, and we're saying, well, wait a second, everybody that sneaks up from the southern border, we have to make special accommodations for them just because. It doesn't work that way. But Mr. Trump is focusing right now on the hardest core criminals like Mr. Alvarado, who wouldn't have been here, by the way, if he hadn't been given sanctuary in this city, and if we had the president beforehand who would actually enforce the law.
We got to leave it there. And he was somebody who had previous drug charges and other drunk driving charges as well. So that is definitely one of the cases this administration says it's going to focus on. I know, Richard, you cited something else. There's a lot to be ironed out here. We thank you both for coming on today.
Tons.
Thanks. Up next is